Well, check it out, y'all. We got what you need. We're all living in apartments, condos, vans. Well, dude, even you can have a studio in a box. Yes, we can help you with that right here at Blind Knowledge. We work on your budget and we figure out your measurements. We'll get you the best sound for the best price. Let me know, 877-237-1143 or at blindknowledge.com. Yep.
Specters all around me, living in stark, blazing the dark. One by one, pictures gather round me. Where those moonflowers used to lost no more. Specters gather round here, living in stark, blazing the dark. Night by night, stare into the black where moonflowers used to grow.
Do you struggle with putting yourself first? Are you tired of feeling burnt out and overwhelmed from constantly putting the needs of others before your own? I have created a sacred space that will be available once a week for 10 weeks to learn, dive deep, and create your boundaries to boost your confidence and self-worthiness. Go to www.krista-luna.com and sign up for the Master Your Boundaries course starting in September 2023. And use the code PARANORMAL to get 30% off today on www.crista-luna.com.
Welcome back to Paranormal, the New Normal. We are here tonight for a very, very special reason. This is the second mini bracket Paranormal, the New Normal has done so far. And this one's going to be a fun one because my guest today is here to do the conspiracies bracket we did back in November. And as everybody on every listener of the show knows, we love conspiracies and we love talking about them. So let's get this party started. But first things first, my guest who is going to be attempting this bracket of, well, craziness basically, but this bracket of believable and unbelievable conspiracies is the host of An Evening at the Movies and part of I Did Not Make These Rankings Network, Mr. Kasey Box. In his first time on. Go ahead.
It is my first time on Paranormal, the New Normal.
It is. I was going to say, it's your first time on Paranormal, the New Normal, and, well, a lot of firsts on with these brackets on Paranormal, the New Normal, so it's a good way to get people that normally aren't on the show onto this show.
True. And paranormal isn't necessarily for everybody.
It really isn't.
Which is why you have M Cubed, so the people that paranormal doesn't pick up, they can have M Cubed.
Exactly. And M Cubed is a fun freaking show to do too. But I love doing this show, and the listeners love this show as well. So I can't complain.
That's my love. Is I love music, I love movies, I love books, and I love the paranormal. So it all wraps up into one nice big scissors.
It does. It all wraps up nicely, and it all intertwines in a way at some points. So it makes it even better.
That's when it really gets funky.
Yes. Well, speaking of which, there are some music. There are some music conspiracies in this here list that we have today. But for those who don't know, we are now doing one-on-one, two-on-one. Well, two-on-one doesn't really work, but one-on-one and three-on-one brackets now for Paranormal, the New Normal, and Maniacal Music Musings. And anybody can be on them. They just have to contact me, and we can get it done. So if you guys enjoy listening to them, you can be on one. You and your friends. It could be a party almost. You bring your own beer, but it could be a party. But
hey, that's the way we roll on. That's the way Dre rolls on Masturbators as well. Anybody's welcome to come on. You just got to be ready to do one of the ones that he's already done because making the brackets is a bitch.
It is, but I enjoy it immensely. But
so does he. But at the same time, yes,
it's time consuming. Yes,
it is very time consuming, but it's a lot of fun to do these. I've done several of Dre's brackets on masturbators, and I will be doing more. So, and I've got this one and a couple more planned with you, so I'm excited for those as well.
Yeah, I wish my timeline during my day aligned with Dre's more often, but it doesn't. So I don't have the ability to get on his show as often. Different time
Yeah,
zones and all that.
That's the joys of the fact that I think he works from home, so he literally just has to roll out of bed, hit the power button on the laptop, and he can open a work window, open a podcast window, and whatever unfolds throughout the day.
Oh, I did. I did that for a good 6 months, and it was awesome. But times change.
I did it for 2 months while I was out of work with this stupid arm injury.
Yeah,
and now it's starting to get back into the routine of my bill collectors want me to work, and now trying to maintain the momentum we have going on an evening at the movies. So we're getting there.
Yep. But let's get this bracket started and start talking conspiracies. And the first matchup, and just so everybody knows, as I said in the original, these matchups are completely random. There's no ranking system in these matchups because there really is no rank list of conspiracies that exists. So that I can find at least. If anybody knows one, please let me know. But the first matchup we're going to have is the Montauk Project versus the Denver Airport.
So Montauk is
For those who don't know, Montauk is what Stranger Things is loosely based off of.
Yeah. See, some of the stuff I wasn't as familiar with, I have a little cheat sheet opened up as well with some brief explanations as to what I read about. Denver is. I've been to the Denver airport too as well, and it is one hell of a damn airport. But I think as far as which one I'm going to put through to the next round, I think I'm going to go with the psychological warfare of the Montauk Project. I mean, psychological warfare, time travel, blah.
Yes,
completely interesting topic.
Oh, it is. It's everything that you need in a 70s, 80s sci-fi novel. And more. it's true. The documents have been released and people can read them. They really did try to do all these things in Montauk area in Long Island, New York. So, but to see what Montauk Project's going to face, you have the flight of Malaysia MH370 versus Skinwalker Ranch up next.
Ooh, and the interesting part about that is the fact that I literally probably like 3 weeks ago just watched the, I guess, reality TV show about Skinwalker Ranch.
Yes, the Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. It's a beloved show nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. I never know with reality TV what you can and can't trust because it's so easy to cut, copy, and paste bits of information together to make your story as the producers and director of the show. But Skinwalker Ranch, though, is one of those ones where, there's such a long history of well documented, for lack of a better term, weird oddities, odd shit happening. So yeah. I think we'll go with Skinwalker Ranch.
All right. I need a damn laptop. But all right, so that means that next round you'll have Skinwalker Ranch versus the Montauk Project, which that right there is a matchup made in hell, literally.
I was gonna say literally.
But the next matchup is another interesting one, and it depends on for me it's simple, but for some people it's difficult. It's flat Earth versus reptilians.
Okay. I'm one of those people that it is so easy to make fun of the flat earthers just for the pure fact that, I mean, clearly the earth is not freaking flat. And to me, it's just one of the most ridiculous theories in the entire world. Probably, I would even say, even the most ridiculous theory on this list, in my opinion. Um, the reptilians, yeah, it's to me, honestly, the reptilians is probably the most more believable of the two, even as far fetched as it may seem. So I think that's the direction I'll go with my vote is reptilians.
And actually, the new thing nowadays is the hot dog Earth theory that Earth is shaped like a hot dog. I can't explain
Why
where the
not?
hell.
10
I can't
years from
explain where
now,
that.
Earth will be shaped like a hamburger. And
Yeah, I can't explain the people that come up with these ideas. I really can't. But
I mean,
to see what's going to face reptilians in the next round, you have MK Ultra versus Men in Black.
here comes the Men in Black. That's basically what the whole Men in Black conspiracy theory is the real life version of the movie.
Yeah, they did a good job of the people who wrote the comic books movies are based off of did a good job of going off of the real conspiracy.
Yeah. Um, I, God, both of these could plausibly be semi believable, even. I mean, I'm not naive enough to think that isn't potentially projects out there where, like, with like CIA experimenting in human mind control and shit, like the MK Ultra addresses. And then, like, obviously, if you've got projects like that, why wouldn't there be potentially a group of government agents that basically work in UFO research and everything that encompasses what the Men in Black project would be? Now, screw it. For my old fogey for life, compadre Harvey, I'm going to go with Men in Black.
Yeah, it's one of his favorite movies. I hear.
It's definitely one of his favorite actors of all time.
Well, that means reptilians is going to face Men in Black in the second round here, but then the rest of these matchups on this side are actually pretty freaking difficult. I think. I mean, they're all semi-believable.
Yeah.
They're all the rest of them on this side are all semi-believable, but we'll see. Because the next matchup is Bigfoot versus the assassination of Martin Luther King.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I mean, Bigfoot is one of the big hot topics of the part of the country that I live in because I'm in the Pacific Northwest and we've got an awful lot of quote unquote uncharted forest land that potentially could be the proper environment to house Bigfoot. And on the other side of the coin, I'm not dumb enough to believe. I mean, we'll get to the other one of these that I have a whole lot of freaking knowledge on being JFK here shortly. But I mean, if there's conspiracies about the JFK assassination, why in the blue hell would there not be conspiracy theories about potentially Martin Luther King and the assassination, who actually did or did not kill him on the day that he died. But because of where I live, I think I'm going to go with Bigfoot this round.
Oh, I don't blame you. And yes, where you live is a known Bigfoot hotspot, and it's basically all but been proven that they're out there.
Yeah.
I've seen enough evidence, but that to see.
Yeah, I mean, I've been teased enough from way back in the day from being a wee young lad running around in the freaking woods around my hometown by older kids about Bigfoot and all that. So it is what it is. But yeah, Bigfoot is definitely something that has been intriguing for me for the better part of the majority of my life. So
exactly, and to see who Mr. Squatch is going to face, we have Area 51 versus Antarctica Secret Base.
Again, both of these definitely completely. I have absolutely no reason to believe why either of the two of them would be false. I'm just more fascinated with the fact that the idea of extraterrestrial life and the fact that I truly believe that if we as a human race believe that we are the only intelligent living beings in this universe, we are so freaking mistaken and so sorely naive because there has got to be some kind of intelligent life forms that are even more intelligent than we are. And Area 51 clearly is there, and clearly it is very secretive about what is going on that site. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Area 51.
All right. So that means Bigfoot will face Area 51 in round 2. But the next matchup you're going to have is the Freemasons versus the idea of sea monster / living dinosaurs.
Oh, sea monsters / living dinosaurs. I would factor into that probably / like Loch Ness monster. Again,
Loch
much
Ness
like
is a
with
sea
the
monster.
whole, yeah, just like with the whole Bigfoot thing. Again, there is so much. I mean, again, there is no reason to believe why some of these things could not exist on this planet with us. The Freemasons, though, I mean, I never really truly started to get into and understand that until I started reading stuff like Dan Brown's books, like The Da Vinci Code and Lost Symbol and stuff like that, which started to, yes, albeit fictitiously, but started to create this picture of secret societies and what all they can encompass. So I'm going to go with Freemasons.
Gonna go with Freemasons. All right. And yeah, Nathan, yeah. Aliens. Well, that's interdimensional. That's basically you're believing that they're ultra-terrestrials, which a lot of people believe, and I could see that. I could definitely see that. They don't have to come from space technically, or they can come from space, but just through different means of travel. It just depends what you believe when it comes to that. But the last matchup on this side of round 1 to see what Freemasons are going to face is a government one, kind of, and it's Spygate versus the Mount Rushmore Hidden Chamber.
Yeah, Mount Rushmore Hidden Chamber, absolutely. I have no reason at all not to believe that, not even just Mount Rushmore to begin with, but why would our government not have hidden chambers or rooms or whatever that house some of this country's deepest, darkest secrets? Spygate, I mean, the whole idea of um, Trump throwing out the Obama administration and put a spy in his presidential campaign for political purposes. I mean, shit, the battle between which of us is right and which of us is more wrong between the right side of the aisle and the left side of the aisle is freaking asinine to me. I'm not even going to acknowledge that by any stretch of the imagination. So Mount Rushmore, hidden chamber.
Going the Richie Rich way.
Yes.
That's why I love that one. It's the Richie Rich imply there. But yeah, that's gonna bring it to the other side of round one. And the first matchup on this side is kind of a organizational matchup, and it's QAnon versus the Illuminati.
God, this is an interesting matchup. Let's see. Cannibalistic child molesters operating a global sex trafficking ring. Wow, conspiring against former U.S. President Donald Trump. Yeah, the whole idea of like child molesters and sex trafficking really freaking it creeps me out to no end. And
As it should.
yeah, and the fact that this is even a part of almost our daily news in this country really is asinine to me. And the Illuminati is one of those huge secret society / conspiracy theory type things that's been around forever. So I'll go ahead and vote Illuminati through to the next round.
All right, Illuminati moves on. But to see what Illuminati's gonna face, and these are two big ones here too, facing each other in the first round. It's the Matrix / simulation theory versus the fake moon landing.
Just for comical purposes alone, I'll go ahead and put the fake moon landing through, just because of the fact. To me, that one seems so freaking far fetched, and we're talking what 1969, and I mean, obviously, if they have the technology to put a man into space, they probably would have the technology to fake the moon landing. But yeah, it doesn't seem as potentially unrealistic. But I mean, it's the same. It is what it is. So we'll go with the fake moon landing, though, just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, I tend to believe the moon landing is not faked, but what happened up there is not what we were told. And there's a reason we haven't really gone back.
Well, and I mean, I've heard things like the whole, like, you see in the video, like the flag rippling. It's like, there's technically, realistically, we've always been taught there's no wind in space. So how would the flag be waving in the breeze?
Yeah, that, and I mean, and supposedly in one part of the video you could see shadows of something else in the background that's moving, and that's right before it goes staticky for a while, and then they come back on eventually, and everything's fine. And so, I mean, and actually, one of the other conspiracies in this will also lead to that belief as well. And Nathan, yes, the Illuminati is definitely real. I 100% believe it. if you want to come and talk about
Yes.
encounters with them, dude, DM me. We could do that. That's not a problem. But the next matchup, though, is going to be global warming versus Pizzagate.
Okay, so as stupid as it may sound, I absolutely 100% believe in global warming because, I mean, climate change is not something that, I mean, clearly, I don't know what everybody else's experiences have been, but I've noticed changes in like the typical climate from like the way things were in like Washington when I was a kid to what they are now. And it's like apples and oranges. So definitely global warming is something that, yeah, I mean, I won't go 100% sure that it's 100% real, but I'm pretty sure it's enough real. Pizzagate, the conspiracy theory falsely claimed that emails contained coded messages that connected several high ranking Democratic Party officials and U.S. restaurants with alleged human trafficking. Yeah, again, child sex rings. No. Fucking dirty perverts and the lengths that they'll go to make sure that their opponents look like shit. So it is what it is. I'm not putting. I love pizza, but child sex trafficking, no go.
So you're going for global warming then?
Yep.
Yeah, and if people want to hear about Pizzagate more, listen to Bunny Ears podcast, Macaulay Culkin's podcast, because that's where I first heard about it, and it sparked my interest in it and finding out more about it. So, and I've introduced many people to that conspiracy since then. So, I'm getting it recognition. But to see what global warming is going to face, it's going to be Hollow Earth versus NWO, and that's New World Order, not the one with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Not that I didn't know that there was. I mean, I knew when I saw the list that obviously it's not, for life, but it's still whenever you see those letters thrown together, you can't help but, you know, Hollywood, Wolfpack, for life. But again, and that's one of those things with, you know, the upper 1% of society and who really controls what's going on in the industrialized nations. Um, to me, that seems a lot more real than the whole concept of Hollow Earth. So uh, let's go with NWO for life.
All right. So that means NWO will face global warming in the second round. And Hollow Earth is the one conspiracy that I love because it actually ties into living dinosaurs. It ties into Bigfoot, Dogmen, and everything else that's out there in the paranormal world because it could be where they're all hiding. And now they're saying there could be underground humans that have been living down there since caveman times. So there's a lot of cave systems in America and Europe. So
well, and see, that's a lot of the stuff. I mean, I'm just basically research, like scratching the surface of a lot of this stuff. And most of these things, trust me, if you find yourself interested in this type of stuff, I highly encourage you to do some digging and research more into a lot of this stuff because most of the stuff there is pages and pages and pages and millions of pages on information on this stuff. So definitely educate yourself and allow what your education scratches or brings to the surface inform your opinion.
Oh God, yeah. Don't just
Don't
jump into
trust me
these
by any stretch of the imagination.
and don't jump into these things thinking you're going to read a couple pages and know what you're talking about, because you can't. There's a lot of information on all this
No,
stuff, and the deeper you go
trust me.
down the
We're gonna
wormhole, then
get to one here in a second where I learned at a very young age. You can't just take one or two books and nope, I know what everything there is to know about. So, I'll put a pin in that, and we'll get to it when the topic comes up. But
well, I have a feeling we're getting to that one in this matchup actually, and because this matchup is Hollow Moon versus False History.
close.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, false history kind of sort of ties into the whole one that I was referring to. I mean, ultimately, what it boils down to, and I had never even had this thought pop into my head until I got to my first history class I took in college, and history is one of those subjects that, depending upon who is publishing the book, you're basically at the mercy of the story that they want you to believe. So whether it's what they're teaching you is true or not is completely subjective. History is one of the most subjective subjects you will ever learn about in school. And, it is what it is. The Hollow Moon. Yeah, kind of sort of, I'm guessing along the same lines as Hollow Earth.
It's more along the
So,
lines of the moon being like a Death Star type object.
no, well, then in that case, then by all means, may the force be with you. Hollow Moon moves on to the next round.
It's based on it's a lot of it comes off because they shot a missile at the moon at one point for some reason or other, and the moon vibrated for 10 minutes when it was shot like it was hollow. That's where the idea comes from mainly, and it has a lot to do with the moon landing too. But
yeah, the infamous moon landing.
exactly. But I couldn't combine them into one topic because they're kind of two topics separately. But
Yeah, makes sense.
the next matchup to see what will face Hollow Moon in the second round will be COVID-19 / vaccinations versus chemtrail poisoning.
Ooh, so clearly, I'm going to assume that everybody pretty much has their own opinions about the COVID-19 vaccination and all of that crap. And for the sake of friendships and all of that, I'm not going down that road as to what personal beliefs are and all of that. I mean, it is what it is, and people are allowed to believe what they want to believe. And I know COVID-19 and the vaccinations has been one of those hot button topics for a lot of people for the better part of the last couple of years. So it does hit kind of personal and resonate for all of us because we all lived through it. Chemtrail poisoning with like the vapor jets in the sky actually being biological quote unquote agents. I think I'm going to go. It kills me to do it, but I'm going to go with COVID-19 only because it's one of those things that whether you believe it or not, it's something we've all have had to live through the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, it's who knows what the government does. That's the thing.
Oh no, I mean a lot of the stuff on the list. I mean, there's several. You know, another one coming up here in this next matchup. But yeah, I mean, everything from assassination plots to vaccinations and political schemes to discredit each other and all it. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
I personally
they,
believe for a long time our government, no matter which side of the aisle you want to live on, is crooked as shit, and ain't a damn one of them looking out for anybody but themselves.
100% agree with that. But that's going to bring us to our two play-in matches. They're going to decide the last two matchups of round one. And the first play-up matchup is the Jeffrey Epstein death versus the JFK assassination.
All right, here we go. So again, this is the one that I was referring to that I've done a shit ton of research on throughout the better part of my life since I discovered the subject when I was in like 6th grade, and that would be the JFK assassination. And the fact that there's literally thousands of theories out there about what happened on um, November 22nd, 1963. Between the CIA did it, Cuba did it, Oswald did it. Oswald did it with the Cubans. Oswald did it with the Russians. Oswald did it. The CIA did it. The CIA blundered something and an accident caused. It is what it is. But to me, the Kennedy assassination is one of those ones where everybody has heard a lot about it, whether you've done the research and spent as much time researching it as people like myself have, or even researched it more than I have. So, you know, and again, it's one of those things that to me proves that our government is not on the up and up, because, I mean, the CIA, George Bush could be involved. Lyndon Johnson could have been involved. Oswald, like I said, Russia, Cuba, Jack Ruby, all of that credit. Wow, it's one big deep rabbit hole. And so, truth be told, it's probably a safe bet that I'm going to be voting for the JFK assassination for a while,
All right.
if not, all night long.
Well, we'll see how it goes. But that brings us to the second play-in of the night and the final play-in. And it's the Georgia Guidestones versus 9/11.
So the Georgia Guidestones, from what I read about it, is a pretty interesting topic that I found that I might actually like to do a little bit more research on. To me, a lot of it boiled down to like an Americanized version of Stonehenge.
Kind of, yeah.
So that was kind of intriguing to me, and again, love to do some research on it. Again, but like with JFK, or even like the whole idea of the COVID-19 and the vaccinations, 9/11 is something that the majority of us living today have all lived through, and we know the stories. We've heard the different musings as to what did or didn't happen on that horrific day. And for most of us, it's going to resonate deeply to our core in some way, shape, or form. So I will go ahead and vote for 9/11.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we all know Kyle Broflovski did it.
At the end of the day, somebody freaking did something, and a lot of innocent people are not here today because of what happened.
Yep,
But I mean, I've I've even seen documentaries that point out that like the street cameras in DC on September 11th, miraculously, when the plane went down and hit the Pentagon, all of a sudden quit working for a period of a brief period of time that just so happened to coincide with the plane hitting the Pentagon. So hence, there's no quote unquote video footage of the plane hitting the Pentagon. Not that I'm saying I believe that theory, but at the same time, you know, it's one of those ones that was quickly thrown out there that tends to point the finger at technically our government being responsible for 9/11.
Yep, I agree.
So,
But that means that you have made your final two matchups in round one. And the first one is the JFK assassination versus predictive programming.
so JFK versus predictive programming, which predictive programming is a theory that the government or other higher ups are using fictional movies or books as a mass mind control tool to make the population more accepting of planned future events. Okay, besides the fact that it's up against JFK, which automatically that's one black mark against predictive programming, but the fact that I personally love movies and books, as I'm sure you're well aware, the fact that somebody wants to throw out conspiracy theories against my movies and books, fuck that person that came up with this theory. JFK moves on to the next round.
Well, that means to see what JFK will face in the second round, it's going to be 9/11 versus government weather control devices.
Yeah, again, I'm still way more fascinated with the whole concept of the multitude of theories concerning 9/11, more so than I am with the government weather control devices theories. So we will go ahead and move 9/11 on into the next round.
Which that's going to make for a very interesting matchup in round two, just saying. But that means that round one is officially over at this point, and we can move on to round two, back to the other side of the board here. And round two is going to be a little more difficult, I have a feeling. But round two starts off with the Montauk Project versus Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh God. Skinwalker and Montauk, the psychological warfare time. God. I think I'm going to go with Skinwalker Ranch only because, again, to me, Skinwalker Ranch has a more realistic and it's been around. It seems like longer than the idea of Montauk. So we'll go ahead and go Skinwalker.
All right. And to see what Skinwalker's going to face, you have two that kind of go together. It's reptilians versus the Men in Black.
Let's see. Reptilians being reptilian-like species, like the movie Species, or honoring my old fogies for life compadre and voting out the Will Smith movie. We'll go with reptilians on to the next round.
All right. And that's going to bring us down to the bottom part of this half of round two. And well, this one actually could go together too. In some people's theories, it does. But you have Bigfoot versus Area 51.
God, and these are two of the most iconic conspiracy theories in this country's history. I mean, they've been around. Well, I mean, the theories on Bigfoot have probably been around longer than Area 51, but um,
Oh, they
Area
have.
Area 51 probably is the one that grabs more people's attention because of Roswell and all of that. So let's go ahead and go with Area 51.
All right. Well, to find out what's going to face Area 51, the last matchup of round 2 on this side is Freemasons versus the Mount Rushmore Hidden Chamber.
Oh, wow. Even to the effect that I could see there being hidden chambers like Mount Rushmore and being ran and controlled by secret societies like the Freemasons. Again, Freemasons have been around forever. And it's one of those secret societies that is so secret that getting any kind of information is basically an act in futility. So, because of that, let's go with the Freemasons.
Okay. And that's going to bring us to the other side of round 2. As the first matchup you're going to have is Illuminati versus the fake moon landing.
Yeah, this one's easy. The fake moon landing, it got its little bit of recognition to get it out of the first round. The Illuminati is just too powerful of a opponent for it here in the second round. Again, the Illuminati and the similarities with that and Freemasonry. Yeah, both of these are probably destined to go a lot deeper into this bracket.
Probably. But to see what Illuminati will face in the quarterfinals, we have global warming versus NWO.
Yeah, it's to me global. I'll still say it till I'm blue in the face, but global warming is probably fairly quote unquote real. As is the New World Order. To me, the seriousness and the power of a group like the quote unquote New World Order is a lot more creepy, in my opinion. So we can go with New World Order into the next round.
Okie dokie. And that means that we're going to have a matchup of the secret societies in the quarterfinals on that matchup. But the next matchup is Hollow Moon versus COVID-19 / vaccinations.
Death Star versus the government tracking us with microchips in our vaccinations. Fuck it, let's move the Death Star into the next round.
Insert Imperial March here.
There
There you go. And to find out what Hollow Moon's going to face in the last matchup of round 2, you have a hell of a match. JFK Assassination versus 9/11.
To steal a phrase from our network, I did make this matchup. I'm going to go with JFK only for the pure fact that I've done a lot more research on this topic, and it fascinates me exponentially more than any of the 9/11 conspiracies do. Not that 9/11 and those conspiracies don't fascinate me, but um, yeah, I've spent so much time on JFK though that I have to move it on at least one more round.
Well, makes sense to me. And that means that we're now in the quarterfinals. And the first matchup is going to be Skinwalker Ranch versus Reptilians.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Um, let's go with Skinwalker Ranch. That, yeah.
All right. And to see what's going to be facing in the semifinals, you have Area 51 versus Freemasons.
Son of a bitch. Wow. I am not gonna lie. I did too good of a job on these matchups. Um, God, both of them are tremendous subjects to do research on. Um, I've already got NWO and Illuminati going head to head here in a second. So let's go Area 51 into the semifinals.
And that means Area 51 will be in the semifinals to face Skinwalker Ranch.
God.
But as you said, we're going to the other side of the quarterfinals here. And it's going to be the Illuminati versus the New World Order.
um, I'm going to go ahead and both of these are incredibly powerful ideas. And I didn't research enough to learn where the root, how far back, like the New World Order concept goes.
Yeah.
I know the Illuminati goes all the way back to like the mid 18th century, like the mid 1700s.
Yeah.
So um, let's go with Illuminati. I don't think I'm gonna like who it's gonna have to go up against in the next round, though.
Probably not, but the final matchup in the quarterfinals is Hollow Moon versus JFK Assassination.
Yeah, no offense. You can silence the Imperial March on this one, and JFK is moving on to the Final Four.
Oh, it's funny. Both the Death Star and JFK were silenced with magic bullets. So,
Yeah. Evidently, somebody used the Force on JFK's magic bullet too.
apparently. But that's going to bring us to the semifinals. And, oof. The first semifinal matchup you have is Area 51 versus Skinwalker Ranch, a battle of the alien freaking grounds.
Oh man. Oh god, this sucks. Area 51 is, like you said, both of these are completely very similar entities. Area 51's the one I learned about first, and generally that was right about the same time that Independence Day came out. Um, we'll go ahead and go with Area 51 just because I feel like it might be a tad bit older.
Uh, But,
But at the same time, it may not be. I mean, again, it's one of those, you know, the hype and the story behind the whole. I mean, Skinwalker Ranch could be hundreds and hundreds of years old.
According to the legends,
you know,
according to the legends, it was cursed, I think, in the 1800s by the Utes, I believe. So that's where it's supposedly started. But
again, Area 51 obviously was not around in the 1800s. I mean, that would be a little interesting. Laura Ingalls Wilder and the pioneers running an alien government base.
Yeah, it'd be that. Hey, I love those books, but that would have made it a lot better.
Probably yes.
I mean, I read the shit out of those books when I was a kid. But that means the other side of the semifinals now is going to be Illuminati versus the JFK assassination.
Damn it all to hell. Both of these are probably well worthy of being in the Final Four. Both of them are very significant conspiracy theories. It's hard to pick between the two. So I think I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off and go with the one that is probably most personal for me, and that would be JFK.
All right. And that means that the JFK assassination moves on to the finals. And it is now time for the finals. And this matchup is probably going to drive you nuts for a minute or two. It's Area 51 versus the JFK assassination.
Oh my God. And again, I personally made this fucking matchup.
Yes, you did.
Alien, I mean, completely 100%, I believe there are other intelligent life forms out there. Again, I'm not stupid enough to think that we are the only intelligent life forms in the universe. I personally, from everything I've read, I'm going to personally go out on a limb and say this too. I have done enough reading and research to honest to God believe there is no way in hell Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. And whether it's our freaking crooked ass fucking government, the crooked ass Russian government, the crooked ass Cuban government, or whoever the hell is helping him, there is one big freaking interweb of freaking lies and deceit that have gone on for the better part of 60 years since Kennedy was killed, even to the point that there's so many different strands of deceit in this web that I don't even think we could even unravel it if the truth was smacked us right in the face. So by that standard alone, because of the amount of elaborate cover up and lies and deceit and everything that entailed into the whole conspiracy, JFK wins.
Apparently. And that's going to put Area 51 in second place. But to figure out what's going to be in third and fourth place, we have one more matchup. And that's Skinwalker Ranch versus the Illuminati.
Yeah, again, as fascinating as Skinwalker Ranch is, there's almost nothing in the entire world that I believe is more powerful than that secret society alone. So I am definitely okay saying Illuminati is the third best conspiracy theory in this bracket.
All right. And that means at the end of the day, Casey's File 4 are JFK Assassination in first place, Area 51 in second place, Illuminati in third place, and Skinwalker Ranch in fourth place. So tell the folks where they can find you if they want to hear you talk about more about what you believe in as far as movies and TV go.
All right. So I am the host of An Evening at the Movies alongside of my co-host Amanda, who has been on Maniacal Music Musings a few times as well. You can
Oh yeah.
find us wherever you get your you can find us wherever you get your podcast listening fix, Spotify, Google, Apple, wherever. As well, I am also the co-host of Literature Reapers with Amanda and Shanna as well. That is available on Spotify, Google, and Apple as well. Basically, there we take one book a month and we break it down and analyze it and review it and rate it, which we kind of sort of do on An Evening at the Movies as well. So we cover the movie aspect with the one show, books with a different show, and as well, Dre and CJ and I are trying to get season to season figured out, which is basically us analyzing different seasons of TV shows and all of that. You can find us all over social media. An Evening at the Movies is on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Literature Reapers is on Facebook as well. And An Evening at the Movies is also a part of the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network. And you can find all of those shows on the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network website, www.idnmtrpodcastnetwork.com. Thank you very much for having me on. I had a lot of fun discussing the craziness that are these fucked up conspiracies, and I look forward to coming back and doing more. This was a lot
Yes.
of fun.
And Casey will be back in a week or two, somewhere around there, to do the Urban Legends bracket as well. So we look forward to that one because that one's a fun one to do as well. And all my listeners and watchers, you know where you can find me. If you don't, listen to the outro, but you know where you can find me. Until next time, listeners, I will be back in 2 days, I think, with another one-on-one, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, I will be coming back with the horror movie bracket in 2 days. My good friend Michael Colby is gonna be doing the horror movie bracket, so we will see how he does with that one. But until next time, thank you, Casey, for coming on. This has been a fun mini bracket, and we'll be back next time. You can find me on Facebook as Jeremy Bryant, or you can find me as Uncensored, Unapologetic, and Untamed UQ Podcast Collective Facebook group. You can find me on Twitter and the Instagram as @JugglerBastard, or should I say X now. And you can find me on TikTok as @JugglerBastard Podcast. You can also find me on YouTube as Paranormal the New Normal. And you can also find me streaming on YouTube as Blind Knowledge Network, because all knowledge is blind until they admit Bigfoot exists.